On this episode of Rad Rat Comics, we take a look at the brand new Batmobile of 1950. Welcome back to Rad Rat Comics, a channel all about comic books and the ridiculous stories inside of them. I have a favorite book now. It's called Batman in the 50s, and it is a collection of Batman issues from the 50s, and they're incredible. I have loved all of the ones that I've read so far, and I'd like to share one with you today. It is Detective Comics 156 from 1950, and it is called Batmobile of 1950, about this crazy new technology they have. You can see the diagram of it right here on the cover. It's got a plastic bubble. It's got a laboratory with built-in cabinets, a workbench, and a stool. How is that going to work? We're actually going to see that in action in this issue, so let's dive into it. It starts off real strong. So Bruce Wayne is at a fancy party, as he does, and he spots a trio of robbers that are stealing about 50 grand. He's got to get away, turn into Batman, and stop them, but how is he going to escape? Well, there just so happens to be a magic trick going on, and he volunteers to be disappeared in the box. And when the magician tries to open the secret passage, or the secret fake wall in the back, he finds that Bruce Wayne is actually gone because he has escaped to go fight crime as Batman. This page didn't have to be here. You know, it could have just started with him being on patrol as Batman, but they chose to put this in here, and I'm very glad that they did. And Batman calls Dick Grayson, and then he gets in the old Batmobile. It's getting a little bit old. It's kind of not at its best anymore, but he's still able to catch up to the villains. Smiley Dick's been calling on your wealthy friends. Batman, I've been wondering if you'd show up. Get him, Snake. The way to strike a snake, Snake, is before he gets a chance to strike you. Do something, Smiley. You said you had it all figured out how to handle Batman if he butted in. Give me time, Zoot. How's that, boys? Swell, especially that slug to finish him. A net, So Batman is captured in a net and then shot. I'm not sure why the shooting wasn't just the first step, but they shoot Batman, and it looks like they shoot him right in the back from point-blank range, but don't worry, he's fine. I'm too late, and you're hurt. Just a flesh wound, Robin, and maybe we can catch them yet. They turned the corner heading north not 10 seconds ago. As revved-up motors sing a song of speed, we're gaining. They'll never win by speed alone. Wait till we get to the high bridge. It's mined with dynamite we can set off the minute we get across. Suddenly, they've blown up the bridge, and I can't stop. Stopping wouldn't help. The whole thing is collapsing. There they go, for good. The underworld ought to give you $1 million reward for getting rid of Batman, Chief. Down plunge the caped heroes toward what seems certain death for at least one of them. Try to get out, Batman. Try to hit the water. It's your only chance. When the echoes of the crash have died away, Batman, if they've killed you, but I won't even say it, he can't die. So Batman is injured, he's taken to the hospital, and he is in traction with a cast on his leg. The doctor says, and note this, not quite, Batman, that leg will keep you quiet for a while, and it's an even bet whether you'll ever walk without crutches. A bum leg won't keep me down, the Batmobile will take me where I want to go. The Batmobile? I'm afraid it's wrecked? So what? I'm talking about the new Batmobile, the one I've been planning for a long time. Let me draw you a sketch. Not tonight, Batman. All you're going to do for the present is sleep. So the news the next day says, Batmobile crash may leave Batman invalid for life, say doctors. And they're laughing about how he's going to have to chase them in a wheelchair, which is very mean, but he is their archenemy, so it makes sense that they'd be happy about it. But Batman and Robin work on the car in costume, for what it's worth. Batman is hurt in a wheelchair with a pillow in full costume working on this car. Fantastic. But with Batman laid up, it's time for Robin to go stop some crimes. One night, as Robin prowls alone on the trail of the crafty Smiley. The terms aren't that easy, Smiley. Well, I've been waiting for the baby member of the Batman-Robin combination to show up. Now that the big guy's on the shelf, I rigged up a special weapon to discourage you, kid, almost as dangerous as a powder puff. Ha ha! Flour! Phooey.
He says, I rigged up a special weapon, and it's flour. It's flour. There's a guy in this scene with what looks like a gun in his hand. It's not the clearest drawing here, but he decides the best way to stop Robin is to hit him with flour. Now, I have celiac disease. If somebody hit me with flour and I accidentally swallowed some, I'd be in some trouble here. But do they know that about Robin? Like, why is it flour? The story offers no explanation. Let's move on.
A far cry from achoo, the Batmobile, but it's the only thing handy to borrow. No Batman to worry about, and how can a kid stop us? You sure fix things, Smiley. Not realizing the grimness of the occasion, onlookers laugh at what follows. Robin must be getting initiated into a school fraternity. Maybe he's advertising a new face powder. The crooks are out of sight, and I wish I were. Depressed by failure, the boy wonder returns to the Batcave. What a fool Smiley made of me. How can I ever catch a smart, tricky guy like that without Batman's help? To be dazzled by a magnificent sight. Oh boy, it's finished. What a beauty. It's 10 years ahead of anything else on wheels, fella. How about a trial spin? With the grace and smooth-flowing power of a panther, the new Batmobile glides through the night. It's light as a feather, Batman, and steady as a rock. You can accelerate up to 100 miles per hour in 100 feet and stop on a dime. So they stop to see the police, who happen to have a map. I don't know where they got it or how, but Batman and Robin get in the Batmobile, and Robin goes to the lab. I don't know what I was expecting, because on the cover it shows that there's a lab inside of it, but have you ever seen like the kind of stuff they have on a cruise ship where it's like it's all different because it can't move, you know? Like like a pool table will be like floating in place so that when the boat rocks, the pool table stays flat. And you know, stuff is like bolted down and all that. This stuff is just a table with stuff on it. Like beakers and a microscope are just loose on this table. It can go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 100 feet. So that's a lot of G-forces that are going to be put on that table. It's fine. It's just like a wood table. And look how much space there is. Like, it looks like he's just inside a building. It looks like he's got several feet of clearance above his head. And yet when you see the Batmobile from the outside, there's no room for that. But anyway, Robin is checking out this map. The original X would be right here in the northwest section, about where Elm Street touches the South River. I'll check with another map. Looks as if Smiley marked Pier 57, South River too, Batman. Pier 57, hang on, fella, here we go. And so Batman is stuck in the car, of course, because of his injured leg. So he mounts this camera with a TV transceiver on it, and he's going to watch from the car. Look at how big that thing is. Like, even in a comic book, like, that's the most wild imagination could imagine that a TV camera would be that small. And the crime is to steal rugs while dressed up in nice suits. Because 1950, that's just what you do. So Batman is watching this happen on the screen. He notices that he only sees 2 of the guys and there are 3. So the third one must be behind Robin. And he has to hurry up and try to call him. Robin, behind you, huh? If it isn't my old pal Snake. Yee, Pepper. You again. Oof. Have some, chum. So the warehouse that they're stealing from just so happens to also have bags of pepper and bananas in it. So we had a flour attack earlier, and then it's being returned, but he's attacking with pepper now. Why? I don't know. For art. And now, Smiley. Oops. Ugh. Nice of you to save me the trouble of knocking you out, kid. It was funny you showing up once, but this time you wind up in the river. Time I took a hand in this. Abruptly, as a knife-edged prow shears through wood and steel. Great guns! A new Batmobile. And Batman. What? I can't see. Robin is saved from the river, but the outlaws flee. That was a close call. Are you okay, Robin? I guess so. If only my head will stop spinning. So Robin is saved.
You'd think when they reprinted all these, they would like catch the typos. I guess they weren't typos, the handos, and fix them, but sometimes you catch stuff like that.
Presently, here they come. What good did it do to wreck the Batmobile when now they got a better one? We crippled Batman, didn't we? And we'll smash this Batmobile like we did the last one. Take the next turn and stop at the tunnel excavation. Make sure the chain won't pull loose, Zoot. Let's hope it doesn't yank the rear axle out of the car. That did it. If they try to cross, they'll crack up. And if they stop, we'll still make a getaway. I gotta hand it to you, Smiley. You sure have ideas. As a fleeing trio looks back, an explosion and no headlights following us anymore. They went into the excavation and blew up. It was sure an unlucky day for Batman and Robin when their path crossed mine. Batman and Robin are trying to chase down the trio, this gang. And they have a huge head start. Crazy head start. Because they have time to stop, come up with a plan of how to take down a bridge, and then they do it. And then they escape, and they go a ways before Batman even gets there. Like, if they just kept driving, they'd be home, and they'd be asleep by the time Batman caught up to them. But they decided to tear down a bridge, and it worked. It's incredible. Has Smiley lured the new Batmobile to disaster? Let's take a closer look at what really happened. Another bridge trap, Batman, but this time we've got a chance to stop. This time, Robin, we don't want to stop. Here's where our rocket tubes get their first tryout. Twin jets of flame flash out with thunderclap force, and the miracle car of the dynamic duo literally flies through the air. Whee! The Batplane couldn't do better. Now to cut off the lights and play a little game with those rats. Swerving through a deserted warehouse district, Batman picks a course parallel to that of the criminals. Why not keep right on their trail, Batman? This is part of the game. You see, we're going at twice their speed and the wind's from ahead of them. Suddenly, a thick, oily smoke spurts from the rocket tubes and expands in the night air. Having outdistanced them and cut them off, we'll blanket the district with that chemical blackout fog we developed. Since no one uses these streets at night, it will be perfectly safe. So that's the game, Blind Man's Buff.
So Batman has rigged his new Batmobile to roll coal, and he is trying to pollute this entire neighborhood. Luckily, he happens to know no one uses these streets at night. No one is ever outside, so it's fine. Don't worry, he thought about it. It's all good.
No car can move through this fog, unless, like the Batmobile, it's equipped with radar. It's even more thrilling than flying blind. Look at this radar screen. As the blackness overwhelms them, Smiley and his pals abandon their car. Never saw smoke like this before. We'll have to find our way out on foot. Yeah, and just to be sure you don't get lost with that swag from that loan company job, we'll hang on to you. In the Batmobile, here they come, all together. What a surprise they're gonna get. The Batmobile glides past the trio invisibly and silently, with only the whop of knuckles against a jawbone to break the stillness. Snake, where are you? What happened? Hey, Huh? Oh! Zoot, speak to me. Snake, Zoot, don't leave me here alone. If only I could see something. Anything. Then the searchlight atop the new Batmobile blazes suddenly. Take a look at this, Smiley. Yee! The bat symbol. Clever, eh? Now let us show you how it feels to ride in a good car. At police headquarters. Great work, Batman and Robin. The most amazing job I ever heard of. You're exaggerating, Commissioner. Smiley was tricky, but catching him and his pals wasn't so very hard. Who's talking about Smiley? I mean, the new Batmobile is sensational, stunning, superb. With a fleet of them, we could clean up Gotham City in short order. Of course, Batman's not going to provide them the plans so that they could do that, which makes sense. Like, you know, he's trying to help the cops. So why not give cops this amazing car with a lab in it? Come on. They should all have this thing. But one thing, and don't worry, there is an ending panel that is the whole reason why I picked this. So hang in there for a second, but I do have some comments first. So all he had to do was catch these guys with the car. He could have done that with the old Batmobile because it said even though it's getting old, it's still the fastest thing out there. He could have caught them. He could have thrown a batarang at the steering wheel and swerved them, like whatever. There was nothing he couldn't have done with the old one, but he had to show off all the new tricks. So they did the smoke and the infrared screen because it's not really a radar like they call it. It's like a picture.
and then the searchlight and all this kind of stuff. Like it feels like they're trying to sell you a toy, and I'm not sure whether they were selling Batmobile toys in 1950, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, now get ready for the ending. And as a successful trial run ends in the Batcave, home again, and don't look now, Batman, but you're walking without crutches. I've been able to for several days, Robin, but I played invalid to see if the Batmobile could make up the difference. The way it performed, nothing short of a catastrophe can keep either of us out of circulation from now on. So Batman was gravely injured, right? He was at the hospital, and the doctor said it's a 50-50 chance as to whether he'll ever walk again. Batman immediately heals. Or he wasn't hurt at all. Like, I'm not entirely sure on this point. But he is better, but he decides to just fake being hurt to test out the Batmobile, right? So he lets his child sidekick go to this rug warehouse to stop these bad guys while he's outside on the car, in the car. He's been shot. Like, he knows that these guys are dangerous, but he lets this child go in there for him while he sits in the car and watches TV. Not because he has to, but because he wants to see if his car's cool. Why? Why you gotta do that, Batman? That was so risky. But yeah, he's got a super sick car now. So bad guys beware, because Batman doesn't even need to get out anymore if he doesn't want to. That was spectacular. So I love that issue. This book, Batman in the 50s, has several more amazing stories I can't wait to share with you. But you'll have to subscribe to see those next time. And you're in for it. But stay subscribed so you don't miss those, and I will see you then. Thanks for hanging out.